Okay, so tonight's homework was to try to do these relationships between moles of water, mass of water, and particles of water. And we should know at this point um, that for every 1 mole of water, there is 18 grams of water. And because it's a mole represents 6.02 or 6 times 10 to the 23rd particles of water. Okay, where did I get the 18 from? Well, H2O has 1H, or 2 H's and 1 O, and 2 times 1 gram per mole, plus 1 times 16 gram per mole is equal to 18 grams per mole. Okay, and so I can fill that in right over here. So this will be 18, and this will be 6 times 10 to the 23rd. And at moles of water 0, there'll be no mass and no particles. I'm just going to fill in a few of these on here. So a tenth of this would be 1.8 and 0.6 times 10 to the 23rd. And I'm going to keep this 10 to the 23rd because it'll make my graph a lot easier over there. So this will be 36, and this will be 12 times 10 to the 23rd. And this will be 18 times 3, which would be 54. And 6 times 3 would be 18 times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, so if you look at this, it says the bottom part. I'll do one more. We'll do 72. And this would be 24 times 10 to the 23rd. And so if I make a comparison here, it says create a graph on the next page that shows the relationship between all 3 variables and uses only 1 line. So on my graph over here, if these are both related to, let me make the pen a little smaller. If these are both related to moles of water, I can write mole, right? And then over here I'll do, let's do particles of water. And the unit there is coulombs, an abbreviation for molecules. And over here we'd have mass. I know it's hard to see. Mass of water. Okay, and that's in grams, right? And so I'm going to do this parts of water. I'm going to say that each one is times 10 to the 23rd. So whatever values I have there, they're all times 10 to the 23rd. And, before I finish, I should probably fill in the last one. So this one would be 18 times 5, which would be 90. And this last value then is 6 times 5, or 30, times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, so now in terms of figuring this out, the most number of moles I have here is 5. Now let's do it in a different color. In terms of figuring out our scale, the most number of moles I have here is 5. And these go up by, this is a 20 by 20 grid. You can count that out, but there's 20 by 20. So I can go up, so I can say for every 4, I get a 1. So I could go, 1, 2, 3, 4. I get a 1 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I get a 2 there. We're a little bit off on our calibration, but you get the idea, and so on and so forth until I get all the way over to the end, which will be my 5. Okay. In terms of the mass and the particles, then, well, if I look at these 2 values, you can see that they're both related, and they're related by a factor of 3. In other words, the mass is 3 times the particles. Okay? So I need the values on both of these scales. I need the mass value to be 3 times the amount. So again, this is going up by 20s. And so I could make the top value be some value divided by 20. I could make it 1.5, and then this would have to be 4.5. So why don't we just do 2 and 6? Should work just fine. So again, the mass is 3 times as much. So each one of these is going to be 6. And each one of these is going to be then 2. And that should get me all the way up to 40, basically. So I'm using 2/3 of the graph. In terms of the slope, you're doing the change in y over the change in x for these. And you should get just one line then as a result, somewhere in there. But in terms of the slope for both relationships, I know first period you guys didn't have to do this, but it'd be a good idea to do this for our quiz tomorrow. So it's change in y and change in x, where y is the particles, and then change in y and over change in x, where the y is the mass. And you should get a relationship that looks eerily similar to this. You should get, for the mass one, you should get 18 grams per mole. And for the other one, you should get 6 particles per mole. But then remember, this 6 particles is times 10 to the 23rd. So that's times 10 to the 23rd. Okay, I hope that helps a little bit. Quiz tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. Bye.